It was the year 2020 during the long lockdown. The world seemed to have paused, and silence wrapped everything like a heavy blanket. Near a small village, there was an old school, standing tall yet abandoned. The school had been closed for 7 months, and everything about it seemed frozen in time. The school's night guard had been recently replaced. The new guard, a man in his late 42nd, was assigned to watch over the building during the cold, quiet winter nights. The nights were long, and the silence outside only made his duty feel eerier. He had a small room near the school gate where he would spend most of his shift. The heater hummed softly in the background, and he would sometimes doze off during his watch. One night, as the clock struck midnight, the guard was startled awake by a faint sound. It came from inside the school building. He rubbed his eyes, thinking it might be his imagination. After all, who could be inside a locked and deserted school? But then, he heard it again. It sounded like footsteps echoing through the empty hallways. Curious and a little uneasy, he grabbed his flashlight and stepped out into the freezing night. The old iron gate creaked as he pushed it open, and he entered the dark school building. The flashlight beam danced across dusty desks and cobwebbed corners, but there was no one to be seen. The sound had stopped. Thinking it might have been a stray cat or a rodent, he turned to leave. Just as he reached the door, the sound came again, but this time it was outside, near his room. A chill ran down his spine. How could the sound have moved so quickly? His heart pounded as he hurried back to his room, only to find it empty. He searched around but saw nothing unusual. The silence returned, heavier than before. He sat on his chair, trying to calm himself, when he heard something else, the faint laughter of children. It was coming from the playground. Fear gripped him, but he forced himself to check. He walked to the playground, his flashlight trembling in his hand. In the dim beam, he saw them, a group of children, running and playing under the pale moonlight. "Hey, what are you doing here?" he shouted. The children stopped and turned to look at him for a moment. Then, without a word, they ran back into the school building. The guard, confused and terrified, followed them. But when he entered the school, it was empty again. Not a single trace of the children could be found. His footsteps echoed in the stillness as he searched room after room, but the building seemed lifeless. Shaking with fear, he ran back to his room and locked the door. He sat in the corner, clutching his flashlight, waiting for the dawn. The night felt endless, each minute dragging by like an hour. He couldn't shake the image of the children's pale faces and the eerie silence that followed them. When morning finally came, he reported everything to the school management. They listened to his story with puzzled expressions and decided to check the CCTV footage. The guard watched anxiously as they played the recording from the previous night, but to his shock, there was nothing. No children, no movement, no sounds, just an empty playground and a quiet school. The management dismissed his story, saying it must have been his imagination or a dream. But the guard knew what he had seen and heard. He had felt the cold presence, the chilling laughter, and the unexplainable fear. The realization hit him like a wave. This school was haunted. From that day on, he never felt at ease during his night shifts. The school stood as it always had, silent and foreboding, holding its secrets within its walls. And every winter night, as the cold wind whispered through the trees, the guard couldn't help but wonder if the children would return. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.